This is Wrestling Nostalgia with Dave Dynasty. Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to Wrestling Nostalgia. I'm your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We have another great interview this week, this time with the mean old varmint himself, Black Bart. We have Bart on. What a great talk, man. Bart is such an uplifting, positive person to talk to, really an inspiration. It was a great interview, and you need to go check out. He has a new book out that he wrote with Vincent Berry called Wrestle Black Bart. It's available anywhere that you can buy books, including Amazon or Wrestleville.com. There's a link in the show notes for you to be able to pick it up, and I highly advise you to go get it. It's a great book full of lots of just unbelievable stories about everybody that Bart encountered in his career, which was everybody, right? Bart encountered them all. So go get the book. Again, there's a link in the show notes, and go check that out. But the interview's coming up in a bit. But before we get there, another thing I want to plug, and something that you guys should check out, is the Savaldi Wrestling Library, the Ultimate Wrestling, Classic Wrestling, which is it's a great streaming service that's now out there. You can find it on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. It's on iPhones, coming soon to Androids, I believe. Or you can find it online at classicwrestling.net. It's a really affordable sign up, and they have got so much stuff. Of course, I'm drawn to the fact that they've got WWA, right? There's Bruiser Wrestling on there, including a few episodes that I didn't have in my vast Bruiser library. So some great stuff there, some Detroit stuff, and then there's obviously all kinds of stuff like ICW, Global, USWA Dallas. There's just so much good stuff. Some late world class stuff. And then all kinds of other stuff. They've got some documentaries on there, the El Santo films in English. There's so much stuff, man, and they're constantly adding more. You cannot beat this deal. If you're a classic wrestling fan, you can't beat the service, man. It is right up your alley. So go check them out. Again, go to classicwrestling.net. You can sign up there, start your subscription, and they do have apps available on pretty much everything. So once you get signed up, start your service, just add it on everything, right? Add it on your smart TVs, add it on your phones, just wherever that you can watch content. You're going to want to put the app on there and sign up. It is a great service. Highly recommended. I do have I'm a subscriber. I'm a constant watcher. I absolutely love it. I'm constantly turning it on and watching through episodes of stuff. So it is highly advised, personal recommendation for this service. So go sign up for that service. Go to Amazon or wherever and buy Black Bart's book, and you'll be good to go with your classic wrestling content for a while to come. But to wet your whistle, so to speak, as an old folk would say, and I am an old folk, right now we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have my interview with Black Bart himself, so stick around. If you like horror movies, be sure to check out Dave Dynasty and Ike Isaacs on the Listen to Their Screams horror podcast. It is available on all podcast platforms and on social media at Listen to Screams. That is Listen, the number 2, and Screams. All right, everyone, and welcome back to Wrestling Nostalgia. This time I'm being joined by the legendary Black Bart. Bart, how are you?
How you doing, bud? How you doing okay, Dave?
I'm doing good, Bart. I'm doing good. I'm here.
But we finally got it set up, didn't we?
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm stubborn. I'll keep at it till I get it. So
there you go. I am too. I didn't think we'd ever get her done, but I guess we did.
That's right. Well, you got a new book out. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but let's go over a little bit over your career. And let's start at the start. You were trained by John Shaw, who was known as Ivan the Terrible, in Dallas.
Yep.
And this is after you left college, right? You quit football. So what was that like, that transition from a college guy playing football to pro wrestling?
Well, it wasn't a big transaction for me because we as kids growing up, we throw a rug out in the front yard or out in the backyard, and that was our ring, and we would wrestle.
Yeah.
And we knew how to by watching the Von Erichs. We knew how to put all the holds. We knew all the holds. We didn't know the names. We knew how to do it. We didn't know the choreographing of a match or anything like that. But we knew how to put holds on each other, and we go out there and fight. I'd fight the whole neighborhood and wrestle the whole neighborhood and have big events and stuff like that. And when I was coming up from that, I would we'd go to the Sportatorium, and we'd go to Little Rogers Coliseum and Northside Coliseum in Fort Worth. And that's how I mean, I felt like I was already a part of wrestling, but I hadn't been trained by anybody or anything like that. And the one of the main one of the you said transaction, it was easy for me. Like when I joined the gym with John, I joined the gym with John Shaw and Rick Miller. Rick Miller was my best friend. Growed up together, elementary school, as far back as I remember. Me and Rick's been together, and we. As a matter of fact, he's got almost identically the same cancer that I've got. Oh. It's ironic, but
yeah, really.
He's fighting it right now, just like I'm fighting it. And, on the cancer end of this thing, on my cancer, I'm looking at on the 27th, I'm going to have an MRIs done, and I've done had radiation. I've had 25 radiations. I've had chemo and radiation at the same time. I've had the chemo. I've had about 25 or 30 sessions of that. Now we're going to look into what's my next step, what to do, and the chemo and radiation has shrunk it, and it's keeping it at bay. I mean, it's still there, and it's going to, but it's hopefully I have other options, other than getting gutted like a fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look good, Bart, and just keep fighting, and I think that's kind of been a sign of you your whole life, your whole career, right? You're a fighter, man. You persevere, you work hard, right? You keep at it.
Always worked hard. Always worked hard. The good Lord was on my side my whole career, brother. And I mean, he put guys like Dusty Rhodes in there to help me along my way. And I by no means Dusty Rhodes was my idol, was my everything, so to speak. But you go through a career, you go through look at a person's life, and you look at what they've done and all that. One of them, and I've held every belt that you can imagine. The only one there's two of them. There's two or three of them I didn't hold, maybe four, but in all the territories I wrestled, all the territories I wrestled the Ric Flairs, the Hulk Hogan's, the Terry Hogan's, the wrestled all, I wrestled the Garvins, the Sam Houstons, all
everybody.
You probably can't mention one except the new ones. Now I ain't been around the new ones very much. But,
no. Well, it's a different world.
But back when we tried to take care of each other, then now it don't even look like there's no care in the world other than just get through the match and get it done and impress everybody and get the big pop. And that's all well and good as they can get by with it, brother. That's my hats off to them. One of the main reasons I'm doing these podcasts, and I'm done because I wrote a book, brother, and I don't want a book. I want to plug my book. I want to talk about my book.
Oh yeah, we're going to get there. We're going to talk about the book. I got a copy of your book. It was a good read, and we're going to talk about that. Let's. That's why I'm just hitting some highlights from your book because I don't want to give everything away about Black Bart's career because I want everybody to go buy the book and read the stories because you just rattled off a bunch of names. That's just a few of them, but in your book you talked about everybody. I mean, you mentioned everybody, told stories about everybody, and I don't want to give that all away here because, like I said, I want people to buy the book.
it's just a little tasting. It ain't.
It is.
There's more. I got more stories than you can imagine. But well, my whole life, brother. I started wrestling in 1970. I graduated high school. I went to spring training at Howard Payne University. I was there 4 days of 3 a day. Okay. Rick Miller called me and said, Bart, he said, Rick, they're opening a school of professional wrestling in Dallas, Texas. I said, sign me up. He went and paid my tuition, his tuition, because he wanted to be a referee and he wanted to be a promoter. And late in well, it may have been early 75, late 75, him and John started running towns.
Yeah.
Around here, local, Longview, Mount Pleasant, all up and through down through there, all through in East Texas and out that way. Started running towns, and I mean, we realized, I was pulling the trailer, I was setting the ring up, I was wrestling the opening match, I wrestled main event, I tear the ring down, load it up, and go to the next show, and make Monday, Friday. That was a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And brother, we made $9 for the 3 days, and I thought, man, you can make money doing this, That go.
Well, that's what I said. You always worked hard, right? You put your time in. You trained with John. You wrestled around Texas as the Arkansas Strangler for a while. You did a few years in the Carolinas, just kind of working the underneath. But you got a lot more exposure there. Wrestled as Rick Harris, but then eventually you went on to Georgia, got a little more experience. But I'm going to pause on Georgia for just a minute because Ole Anderson recently passed away. Do you have any good Ole stories from your time working in Georgia?
Well, I don't have none.
Was Ole as crusty and ornery as everybody says?
He was an a-hole to work with, brother. He ribbed you to death, and he was the booker. He ribbed the underneath guys like me. He did until they either stood up to him or they quit.
Yeah.
And I stood up to him, and after that, I had tons of bookings. I was steady working, and what we was looking for back then is steady work.
Right.
Yeah. Enough steady work to feed our families. And what they would do, they'd give 1 week. 1 week they would give you 7 or 8 bookings, and then the next week you'd have 1 or 2. In other words, they're trying to starve you out.
Yeah.
And,
right.
The guys that stayed most of the time wound up getting pushed somewhere in the territory.
Well, speaking of guys you didn't get along with real well, you also worked around that same time, a little after, you worked in Mid-South for Bill Watts. And you didn't really like Bill Watts, did you?
No, me and Bill. The reason I went to that territory was because of Ernie Ladd was the booker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I loved Ernie Ladd. I watched his football career, and Grizzly Smith was one of the assistant bookers, and Grizzly I love Grizzly to death. And then I got to know his sons real well, Snake and Snake and Shank. They become very, very close friends of mine. And if you get you don't have wrestling friends, because sometimes somewhere you're going to cross and somebody's going to say something, or it's just that's just the way it is. They don't. You don't have wrestling friends. You have acquaintances. But I did make some friends in the business. Sam Houston being one of them, and his wife, and they were very, very, very good friends of mine. But that territory, that Louisiana territory, it was a tough son of a gun to work. A lot of miles,
long drives.
Hard son of a gun to work, man.
Well, then after you came out of there around 1983, that your career really kind of changed in '83, right? Because first you went to Southeastern working for Bob Armstrong, and Bob's the first guy that really saw you and said, "Hey, we're gonna push you," right? They renamed you Mountain Man Harris. You gave you the Alabama title, What was it like,
Yep.
man? You worked underneath, you put in all these time, all these miles, all these years, and here you were finally getting a little payoff, getting a little attention. What was it like? I mean, and what was Barb Armstrong like?
Yeah, Bob, working for Bob Armstrong was a sweetheart, brother. Bob Armstrong was this sweetest, the nicest guy you'll ever meet in your life. He he uh he put that Alabama title on me, and I thought he hung the moon. I mean, somebody have that kind of thought about you and everything, to think enough about you to put a belt on you. Back
Yep.
then, back then a belt meant something, you
Yep.
know. And after that, I got Dusty Rhodes called me and
Yep. Yep.
said, "Rick, I want you to come out to Tampa, Florida. I want to change your gimmick."
Yep. When you talked in the book about when you worked for Bob, they did those
Yeah,
vignettes and did some vignettes for you, put that belt on, and you thought, man, this is something else. And then, like you said, also in '83, towards the end, Dusty called you. And this
yeah.
is really, really where you, I mean, because this is where Black Bart was born, right? Dusty gave you that name.
This is where he was born, brother.
Yep.
He put me with J.J. Dillon, put me with made us a long rider.
Yeah, with
Put
Ron
us
Bass. Yep.
Mike Rotundo, Mike Davis, Mike Rotundo, and Barry Windham.
Mm-hmm.
We wound up in the main feud against all the baby faces, against all the heels. It was a walk and talk gimmick down there, brother. And
Yep.
we sold out everything that we touched. I mean, it sold out. It was
Yep.
unbelievable. 16 guys. It's a 16-man territory, and we had other guys coming in and out, flying in and out, and it was a dream come true.
Yeah. I
World
mean,
with the NWA World Tag Team Champions.
yeah.
Uh, we were I held that brass knucks belt so long. I think
Mm-hmm.
it ought to be in there in my closet. It was because I carried it so long, but it ain't. I give it back. I never stole the belt. Never stole the belt from nobody or anything like that. Uh, but if if uh, if I knew what I knew when Dusty made that call and I said yes, I'll be there. And if I know that, brother, it would have been when I was 18. It would have been Katie Boy dead gum nowhere. I'll tell you that right now because the work, the way the working, and I mean working, I mean the way it is in the ring. You lie,
Yeah.
hear
Mm-hmm.
each other, or you get every now and then you run one across and you just have to beat the living piss out of them,
Yep. Right. Yep.
and they still don't learn. But
Well, like you said, though, it was so hot down there, right? You guys were so hot. But then
do what now?
I said you were so hot there in Florida with Ron Bass. But then I think
Oh,
you got even hotter because then you went on to Mid Atlantic, and Bart kind of went solo for a while after for a while. I mean, you held that Mid Atlantic title a couple times. You had this a great run in Mid Atlantic, probably the
I was wrestling full time.
yeah.
I didn't. I was brother. I was wrestling full time. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't that I wasn't working. I was working, and back then, see, that's what mattered to us.
Yeah.
I didn't. An icon, a hero, all that. That didn't even enter into our vocabulary. Well, all we want to do is feed our family, take
Yep.
care of our kids, and if you weren't booked, you didn't make no money. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't like now you sign a multi-million-dollar contract, and rather
Yeah.
you work or not, you get paid that amount,
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah. You didn't have
So
guaranteed money back then.
yeah, but
You had, and if but you made it to Carolina, I mean, if you make it Carolina, you're making it, right? I mean, you were
yeah,
the man
brother,
in Carolina.
out in the Carolinas, they was shoot. They were like they owned, including the old territory. They owned he owned Crockett owned probably if you combine it into territories, we had an A team, a B team, a C team.
Yep. Yep.
And each division you had top guys, and then when the big shows come around, Dusty would take the top guys out of each division or whatever you want to call it, and he had his big show. You know, it was that simple.
Yep.
It was that
Yep.
simple. You know, and to make that God, to make that kind of money back then was unheard of. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well, you mentioned Sam Houston.
You look around, you know, all everything I got here is paid for. My land's paid for. My house paid for. 2 vehicles paid for. Uh, uh, you know, but in comparison to the money that I made and to the money they make now,
Oh yeah, yeah,
there's no comparison whatsoever. None,
no, no.
none. It's a little taste. We're just getting a little taste of the what you know, and that you know that's the truth.
Yep.
And
Well, you mentioned Sam Houston, and during this Mid Atlantic run, that's when you and Sam had your thing, right? You had some hellacious matches, man. Some bloody battles. And I man, when I think Black Bart, I mean, I talked to Sam. I interviewed Sam just a couple of weeks ago, and I told him the same thing. When I think of one of you, I think of the other, because man, those matches you had in the Mid Atlantic
kind of goes hand in hand, don't it?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I don't know. Now, me and Ronnie Garvin had some hellacious matches. I mean,
yeah.
But that was, you know, we were mainly out in Ohio and that area, all out there, and that's where we were.
Yeah.
Hell, I had a fan club out there that was like 900,000 strong in people. You know, they out there cheering for me, carrying around Black Bart, everything. They was dressed like me. They all of them had long riders, the cowboy hats, the whole 9 yards. There's a Black Bart fan club. I mean, it honestly was.
Yeah.
And you try, you know, Benny's gonna be pissed off at me, brother, because I ain't pushing the book.
All right, man, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'll take care of Vinny. Don't worry about it.
Call you.
You tell Vince to call me. Yeah.
Go for it,
well,
brother.
hey, I'll tell you what. Everything I'm asking you, I pulled it from your book. So this is just teasing. I mean, like I said, and we're just talking a little bit. So if anybody, I mean, they read the book, they get a lot more.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, and like around '86, you moved to world class, and you talked about it in your book when you first started, when you first trained. You called Fritz, right? You wanted to work for Fritz. That's what you wanted to do. And here now, finally, you get to work for Fritz in '86.
Yeah.
So what was it like working for Fritz?
You want me to tell the truth? You want me to candy coat it?
I want the truth.
You don't want the truth set you free.
Yeah, that's right.
Fritz, the thing about me and Fritz was when I was a kid growing up, Fritz von Erich was my daddy's hero. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my daddy, Fritz von Erich, hung the moon, and the sun come up because of Fritz von Erich and set because of Fritz von Erich. That's how strong my daddy loved Fritz von Erich. Now, with that being said, I had nothing but respect and honor for Fritz. All right. But then you go to work for the dude, and you're his world heavyweight champion. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you have to wrestle his kids. You ain't wrestling Fritz. You're wrestling his kids.
Fritz's kids, right? Yeah.
Kevin von Erich, Mike von Erich, Kerry von Erich. I never wrestled David, but I was with David and went out in Atlanta. And I was with David in Japan. They were hard, to say the least.
Stiff.
They were hard.
Yep.
They were hard, and if David, I believe this with all my heart. If David would still be alive today, there would be a big giant territory right here in the state of Texas, and all of us guys would be working
for David.
I believe that with all my heart. We'd be road agents. We'd be setting up the ring, whatever we could do to keep it going. But with him doing what happened and all that. And I love, and the thing about it is, brother, I loved each and every one of them. All of them. Kerry, I loved him to death, but there's no candy coating dope and not no shows, no answer for no show for no reason. There's no answer for the for the things that they'd done to the territory to kill it.
Yep.
They didn't even know. They didn't know that because they were they were high all
Yeah,
the
that's
time.
right. Yep.
And I
And you have a
know
chat.
I was drinking beer all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I was high too. But I knew when to not. When it come time to get in the ring, you couldn't go in the ring. You couldn't go in the ring. Uh, uh,
Hi.
I mean, some can't even you know that you're just a zombie. But anyway,
Yeah.
with
I mean,
that being,
you got a chapter in your book about Kerry where you talk all about him. And
I know it. I
yeah,
know it.
but
And
you mentioned David. I mean, David was the talent, man. He did it all. I mean, in that little run Kerry had, that was David's run, right? He you know, and
unbelievable.
I mean,
Like I say, it would have been a if we could have kept David alive, it'd have been a big different. It would have been a big. The outcome of the Von Erichs would have been a different story. Would
yeah.
have been a different. And
Yeah, yeah, it's weird to think about it because it seems like so long ago, but man, David would have just been hitting his prime in the 90s, the late 80s and 90s. I mean,
yeah,
he wouldn't, it seems like so long ago, but
there you
it's
go.
really
And
not.
what happened was a complete accident. You know,
Were you there
uh,
in Japan were you in Japan when David died?
I was I had he flew in. I think he flew in for a week because they would fly in and out a lot.
Yeah.
He didn't he checked in, but he never checked back out, brother.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
Uh,
Well,
I was,
you talk. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just saying I was over there. I was over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, you worked a lot. Yeah, I mean, you talk about in your book, you worked all over the place, right? Yeah, after that, I mean, you worked the Carolinas again, you worked Florida again, Dallas again, Memphis again. Finally landed in the WWF for a couple of years, but it wasn't right. They weren't really doing anything with you. And
Well, that the WWE, the WWF was uh, a a high paying
mm-hmm.
job, but
Yep,
it was just to show me what I could have had. And the story that story is in here too.
yep,
This is my
yep,
book.
yep. There
This
it
is
is.
my
Wrestle
book.
Black Bart. Yep,
But
yeah. You,
like a it's like a
yep,
it's like a wanted poster on
yeah.
the cover. It's called
That's right.
Wrestle Black
Wrestle.
Bart.
Yep.
The
You and Vince Barry.
Me and Vinny Berry wrote it, put it on
Yeah.
paper. My stories on, put my stories on paper.
Yeah, I was going to ask you why did you think this was the right time to do a book? What inspired you to think this was the time?
Everybody, everybody was on my butt about Bart. You need to write a book. Bart, need
Mm-hmm.
to write a book. Here it is, guys. Now,
Bart wrote a book.
I 2 years in this making of this little puppy right here. 2 stinking years of my life went into this book. I mean, I thought I had a phone growing out of each ear. Okay, and I thought Vinny. I carried Vinny around when we was doing this book and putting this all down on tape and getting it on from tape to paper. The dead gum. It was like Vinny was right here in my front pocket, right here. He was right in there. I mean, he was listening to every little thing that I said.
Talked about everything, right? I mean,
When it,
you mentioned your dad and Fritz. I mean, you talk. That's how the book starts, right? You talk about your dad. You talk about learning to love wrestling, watching with your dad, and him
my
getting
dad,
on to you because you would jump up in front of him in the TV when you got excited.
if he didn't, you got a work boot upside your head. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
He was a fan from hell, brother. Uh, he didn't, as far as I know, he didn't like football. He didn't like nothing. He wanted wrestling, and
Yeah.
wrestling was year round, and he loved it. And
Yeah.
in the book, uh, I've got pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. Oh man, I lost it. The there was a story. There's always been a story out there. Nobody knows my real name. They thought my real name was Rick Harris,
Yeah.
and my real name is not Rick Harris. Gene Anderson gave me Rick Harris, the name Rick Harris.
Really? See, I thought Rick Harris was your real name.
No, my real name is Rick Jones.
Yeah.
But on the show, I don't know if we can get this on there, but that's my dad right there,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and that's me. We get a little taste. That's me when I was about seven or well,
Little
maybe 10 or 11 or something like that. But this
little
thing
Bart.
is, and Vinny done this. There's pictures and pictures of guys in here. There's stories about guys in here,
Yep.
and there's stories about Denny Brown. I don't know, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
guys. Me and Denny Brown were tight, good
Mm-hmm.
friends. Denny Brown wrote a little piece in here. Sam, of course, Sam wrote a little bit in here.
Yep.
Iron, Andrew Anderson wrote in here.
Well, and
Uh,
JBL. I was going to ask you about JBL, right? He works for you.
I get him. Wild Bill Irwin,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Sullivan, the Grappler. They wrote it. They wrote in here. JBL, James Beards. They've all got some stories in this book and about me. Uh,
Well, JBL had a great career, and a lot of people may not know you trained JBL.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, didn't try. There's difference. There's
Uh-huh.
difference.
Okay.
When you train somebody, it means you get them when they don't know nothing.
Okay.
I
Okay.
popped JBL.
Okay. So he'd already started.
Yeah, I got him ready to go in front of a crowd.
Gotcha.
How to get a crowd to react, and really worked on that in front of a crowd, being the sportatorium in this territory around here.
Mm-hmm.
We had the opportunity to do that, but
Well, JBL's always speaks highly of you, right? He's a big supporter of you, big Black Bart fan. He always talks about you.
I go in him and I stomped him dry. Uh, he him and Bobby Duncan, boy, they were fit to be tied when they come out of that arena football stuff, man.
Yeah.
And
A couple of
head
big.
full in the ring. We settled
Yeah.
down and made superstars out of them
Yeah.
with that. Now, some of that is in this
Mm-hmm.
book, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and you
that,
also talk to me about your WCW run. It's in there too. In '91, where you were teaming with Dutch Mantel and Deadeye Dick as the Desperados. Uh, Doing that, you had those vignettes where you were looking for Stan Hansen. How did that all come about?
that looking for Stan Hansen thing just got kind of thrown in there. It wasn't that we were looking for Stan Hansen. We was just forming a 6-man tag is what it boiled
Mm-hmm.
down to. But
Yeah.
then it was I guess it was good enough. It was supposed to be sold to Fox Network,
Oh.
but yeah, it got nipped in the bud by. It got nipped in the bud. That story, I believe that story's in the book too. I don't want to give
No,
nothing
no.
away,
Uh-uh.
but the book,
You talk about that book.
that story's in there, and the Desperados. I mean, I like
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes. A whole lot of other people, but they just disappeared.
Yep.
Poof,
Yep.
poof. Read
Yeah.
the book, you'll find out why.
That's right. Yeah. But a lot of people
Yeah,
remember that. A lot of people remember the
yeah.
Desperados. Yeah.
Read the book, you find out why. Dadgummit. Everybody
That's
like
right.
Bart, write a book. Okay, I wrote a book.
Well, and there's another story in there, and we're not going to give it away. Not going to give it away. But there's a big ass story in there about a certain iconic WWF character that you say was intended to be your gimmick.
Yeah.
Right? That you know what I'm talking about, right? And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is a big thing. Big thing. And again, I'm not going to give this away. I don't want to talk about this because I want this right here alone is worth buying the book for, this story.
Well, I'll put it. Dusty Rhodes called me up to his room.
Mm-hmm.
We had wrestled in a big show in Connecticut, and he called me up to the room, and
And this is when you were with WWF.
I was with
right?
Yeah. This is in 90,
Mm-hmm.
90, 91.
Yep, you and Dusty are both there.
Yeah, and Yeah, you don't want to give it away,
Nope.
but Dusty
Nope.
called
But
me up and made the whole gimmick.
yep, he
The
showed you
whole
the gimmick.
gimmick on the
Yep.
table. He had the purple, the long like a long rider jacket, but not a long
Everything.
rider. The
Yep.
hat. Guy had he had drawn had the whole gimmick laid out on the table. The next TV they show up and
It was on somebody else.
yeah, and Black Bart's gone. That's the way the wrestling business is. Even though both of them were my good friends, and we traveled together, and we worked together, and we lived together. We actually lived together in
Yep.
in the Tennessee territory. We actually lived together.
And if anybody can get him cornered, Dustin Rhodes can verify this story, right? Because he knew about it. Because he was there at the same time.
He's the one, Dustin, and I say, Dustin, you could, I've tried to call you, and you could call me back. I know you may not have a number, but I got a new number. But you got to have it don't take no brain sciences how to get my number.
That's right. Well, come on, Dustin, man, we need this verified.
But anyway, the verification, I don't really give a rat's ass.
Well, true.
It's it's the truth.
It is. All right. And again, people need to buy the book. That story alone is worth the book. Is worth getting the book.
It's honest God truth. And
and again, man, you leave nothing out in this book, man. You all the way from the beginning of your childhood, growing up, through your entire career. You talk about everybody that was anybody that you encountered. I mean, because you wrestled them all, and you talk about it. You talk about every stop along the way, every promotion. You touch on them all. you don't lie. You don't mince words, right? You're up front. You tell the truth, and
you don't. Like in our truth says the truth sets you free.
yeah. And
I believe that 20 years ago. The truth sets you free, brother. And sometimes it jumps up and slaps people in the face, but that still don't mean it ain't true.
That's right.
It's a truth, And some of the truth you can't print. I learned that the hard way. Some of the truth you can't print because it hurts somebody or you get but it is what it is, brother. And
and
like book,
you talked about earlier, man. You've been battling some health issues, battling cancer, and you're fighting, right? You went through treatment, like you talked about, and so I mean, man, we're all pulling for you, Bart. I mean, we keep fighting. You just know everybo's back behind you, man. We wish you for the best.
Let me get in there for just a minute. About that. My faith in Jesus Christ is strong. It's never been stronger. Every morning when I get up out of my bed, I put my feet on the floor and I thank the good Lord for letting me have one more day. And I was diagnosed with this cancer, and like I say, I've fought injuries, I've fought diabetes, I've fought in 2015 I had a 5-heart bypass. I didn't have no heart problems. It's all my veins going in and out of my heart. They needed to be repaired, and they repaired them. Yeah. They took the veins out of my legs, put them in them, and repaired them. And I have fought and fought and fought with this cancer. Man, this cancer's tough. Yeah. It ain't. I mean, it ain't no play. I don't think I wouldn't wish cancer on anybody. My worst enemy. I would not wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
Not even my worst enemies. I ain't got no enemies, so that takes care of that. But if if there's one person in this world, that I believe in Jesus Christ. I give him all the glory. I give him all the thanks. I give him all the praise. I believe if it wasn't for him, when I opened that box up and I looked down, I seen this book and I seen this thing staring back at me. I have had accomplishment after accomplishment. I've won world titles, world tag team titles. I've been a world heavyweight champion. Not a lot of guys can say that, but the good Lord blessed me, and I give him all the praise and all the glory for every little thing that I have ever had. I give God all the glory. Jesus Christ is my personal Savior, and only through Jesus Christ can we get to heaven. Amen, brother. Amen. God bless each and every one of y'all, and I love you. I love y'all. I love each and every one of you. And this old cancer, I'm gonna close with this. This old cancer boy, he thinks he's tough. He thinks he's bad. But guess what? Old Black Bart's badder. Old Black Bart's meaner. I'm the meanest thing west of the dadgum Pecos. And I'll tell you what, cancer, there ain't a dadgum thing you can do about it. God bless y'all. And I love each and every one of y'all.
Yep. Wait, before you get out, Bert, how can people get the book? What's the best way to get the book?
Oh, I'm sorry. Benny's going to kill me.
No, see, I didn't forget.
Get to Amazon and get it through rasslepod.com.
Okay. I'll put that link in the show notes. So all people's got to do is go down in the show notes and description, click, very easy. There you go. Buy the book. Buy the book, support Bart.
That's good. All right, boys. I love
hey, is there a way that they can follow you, Bart? See how you're doing and everything, or do you just kind of keep low?
Well, I'm on Facebook
under Rick Harris, right?
I don't want to give my telephone number.
No. Nothing like that. I was talking more social media stuff. So if people wanted to follow you on Facebook, would that be all right with you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I got 5,000. They won't let me have no more friends.
Well, I think they can still follow you, though. They may not be able to friend you, but I think they can follow you. There you go. So follow Bart and watch him kick cancer's ass.
One of them should buy a dadgum book.
That's right. And every one of you, go out and buy the book.
Black Bart, buy a dadgum book.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling Fans International Association is back. That's right, the premier fan club association of the 1970s and 1980s has been revived and is back in business. Join today. It's free at thewfia.org. That's thewfia.org. You can also join us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/WFIA 1969. All right, and welcome back to Wrestling Nostalgia. I am Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Black Bart for coming on and talking to us a little bit about his career. Again, we just scratched the surface. If you want to hear more, if you want to go more in depth and hear some really, really great stories from Black Bart, go buy his book, Wrestle Black Bart. Again, there's a link in the show notes. You will not regret it. And while you're out there, like I said earlier, go out and subscribe to the Savaldi Wrestling Library. It is a great service. Again, links in the bio. But you're going to want to do it. You're a classic wrestling fan, obviously, because you're listening to this podcast. And it is a great, great service, a great value. And, if you get to talk to any of them or whatever else, tell them Dave sent you. Tell them old Dave Dynasty sent you. But, and again, thank you for joining us for another episode. Thank you for subscribing on your favorite podcast platform, for your support on social media, all your shares, and everything you do to support us. We'll have another great interview next week. We're coming back with next week with one of the original members of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Luscious Lars Anderson will be my guest next week. Got a great interview with Lars that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you subscribe. Click that auto download so you don't miss an episode. But anyway, thank you for your support. And until next week, when again I'll be joined by Lars Anderson. Wherever you go and whatever you do, be good, be safe, and always keep on growing.